Hello, welcome to Lemon Series, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for the penultimate episode of The Last of Us Season 2. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Share, I'm to leave a like, comment, let me know your thoughts on The Last of Us, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into the review, shall we? So, we have one episode left after this week, and this was the flashback episode with Joel or Pedro Pascal. And we get to see everything that was happening in between that 5-year jump, and why Ellie does not like Joel anymore, and then why the sudden change of why she wants to be with Joel again. And in a lot of ways, this was the best made episode. I mean, Neil Druckmann, the creator of the game, really directed his ass off in this episode quite a bit. Loved a lot of the decisions that he made within it. I think the editing was really, really good. I think there was a lot of things in this episode to me that was just phenomenal. I love the bookend of the prologue with Joel going through his dad, and then going through this journey where he's thinking he's doing the right thing, and then at the end, he gets that same type of conversation where, when Joel goes, "You're not going to hurt him," and then the dad hands him the beer and goes, "Look, I was not like him. I may have hit you and I may have gone too far, and I hate myself for that, but I was not like him. I did a little bit better, and when it's your turn, I hope you do a little bit better than me." And then as he's going through this whole journey, and he's really thinking, hey, he is better than his dad, and then here comes Ellie going, "I kind of hate you," and all these different things, and he throws that line back at her, goes, "I hope you do a little bit better than me if you're ever blessed enough to have a child." It really hit me. It really hit me right here. Really interesting to do the porch scene now, because it's such an important scene in the game. For those of you who don't know, it is the final scene within the whole game. We go on this whole journey, and then we finally see that Joel and Ellie did have a talk, and they were going to try to reconcile their relationship. And of course, we all know now she never has that opportunity to do that, which is why she goes on this journey that she goes on. So I'm really curious to see how this progresses, future, and especially within season 3, where we go the route that I think we're going to go on, which we'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, all that technically sound, storyboarding from beginning, middle, and end, absolutely phenomenal all the way through. I don't think this is my personal favorite episode, just because the only problem I have within this week's episode is, again, execution was done well. The only problem I have is Ellie wanting to know about Salt Lake, the truth, which is very much adamant throughout the whole entire second game, and it's adamant here as well. I mean, we had a hint with the fireflies that she saw after the museum, and then the moths was a little bit of an indicator as well. I just wanted a little bit more, that scene with the guitar, right? He makes the guitar, he has the moth there, they have this nice little moment. And, maybe if we just cut to her, and, they're having this good time, they're having this great father-daughter moment, and she zones out, you know what I mean? And where it still affects her, the purpose, because purpose is a big part of the second game as well. That's clearly not the main focus within the show, which is completely fine, because they are doing the main theme of it, which is revenge and getting retribution and all that. So that's fine. If you have to pick one, you pick the revenge, of course. But then we see the fireflies, and then we go to year 3 or 4, and she has that moment with that girl, and then it reminds her of, oh crap, what's her name from Left Behind, and that episode in season 1 where her first kiss, right? Well, almost first kiss that we saw Ellie had when they got the confirmation. She has that moment with Joel going it's not an experiment, and all these different things, and that's reflecting on her, then that's making her really upset, and wants to know about Salt Lake. And then we built up to where she wants to have the questionnaires with it. We're okay, this is what we're gonna face it head on, and then of course we go in a completely different direction. Again, overall, when we got to that porch scene, and she goes, "Tell me the truth," and he can't say a word, all he could do is shake his head to confirm everything. It still got me. I still teared up quite a bit, and again, that amazing way to tie in the prologue with the dads goes, "I just hope you do a little bit better than me," because I feel like we can all relate to that quite a bit. I feel like we've all had that heart to heart with our parents. I said this in my media reaction. I've had this type of conversation with my dad. I've had this type of conversation with my mom where, we talked about our upbringing and, it wasn't always, things that upset us, the things that we loved about it and all that. And then, the parent just taking it in and going, well, I hope I did good and I know you're going to do better than me and all that. Granted, my parents never hit me like Joel's dad did. And, I'm not a survivor or the cure to the zombie apocalypse that I know of anyway. God forbid a zombie apocalypse ever happened. I'm the chosen one. We'll be in real big trouble if that was the case. But, I don't have the extremes that the characters that we are watching going through, but I have had that heart-to-heart conversation when you do talk about your upbringing, right? And I feel like most of us had, especially people who have kids of their own. I'm pretty sure you've had I hope you do a little bit better than me, or you will do better than me, or you're going to be better than me in every single way. We've all had that, and I feel like we can all relate to that. And to have that book in was really good, and it still packed a meaty punch. Like I said, I teared up quite a bit. But I really do think I could have been really sobbing and just really going, ugh, and all that if we would have just, again, to keep pushing it a little bit more with more hints, like the fireflies, like more with the moths and all that. I really could have gone maybe 2 hours in this. I don't know how long this episode was. I think it was a 90-minute film for the most part. But I really could have gone an extra 30 to have those tidbits throughout. And also to use the choice, because in the game, Ellie confronts Joel about Salt Lake. Like, she runs off to Salt Lake and he follows her. They have this conversation and she basically doesn't speak to him for like 2 years. Like, it's more than just a few weeks that it is within the show. And to use the Eugene, and this is again another theme within it. There's 3 main themes within the game: perspective, which we use here with Eugene; vengeance, what we're doing with Ellie; and then what was the other one I said just earlier on? Purpose. And purpose. And again, purpose has taken a little bit of a back seat. Maybe we'll use that more in season 3. But yes, the perspective of Eugene, where we get that initial scene at the therapist thing, and the therapist is pissed off at Joel. She says, "I kind of hate you. I need to drink before I even help you," and all that. And then we get this, and you see what Joel did to Eugene, and you're kind of like, man, fuck you, Joel. You know what I mean? And again, when we get to later on within the show, and especially how season 3 kicks off, where a lot of people are gonna have to swallow quite a bit if the ending of the show is where I think it's going. It's going to be a really interesting season 3 premiere. That's all I'm going to say. Perspective is such a big theme throughout the whole entire game, and it's really being at the forefront of the show as well, along with the vengeance. And the whole use of the line, "You swore," where, she's not upset that he killed Eugene. She could honestly not necessarily care less. She wants him to say to see his wife, but the fact that he said, "I promise," the same exact way that he said he swore, and that, he's letting her in on the whole, look, I'm just going to say what they need to hear. And then, she goes, you swore. It has nothing to do with Eugene. She knows for a fact that he lied, and he knows deep down, because again, at the therapy session where he goes, "I saved her life." And then we move on. We get that poor scene, which again is phenomenally acted. Pedro and Bella just did an amazing job performing within this episode. It was amazing to see the museum scene come to life. I'm glad that she did climb on the dinosaur, because I make sure to climb on the dinosaur every time I play the game. The spaceship scene was, again, shot by shot, absolutely amazing, phenomenal. No notes on that. You really get a perspective from Ellie. I really like the scene with, Joel catching Ellie with the girl, and that whole experimenting and all that. And Joel doesn't understand it yet. I mean, as a Texan, and who sees it all the time, yeah, Texans don't get it. They're just like, yeah, you're not yourself right now. And I was like, oh, Joel, come on, get the Texan out of you. Just apologize. And, he's like, hey, let me help you with the bed. Let me get let me fix the sewage and all that, so that you can actually live in there, and like, it's not just horrible to live in the garage. Let me get it all set up. And I was just like, man, just apologize for having, ignorant thoughts. And of course he didn't, but, there's an understanding there. Him helping her with the bed was enough for that. I'm not really sure how I feel about, her going, this is not your house. Even if they gave it to him, it kind of is. Sure, they share it in a way. And, she is 17. Again, what is adulthood when you're in the apocalypse? So in a way, I liked it. In a way, I didn't like how Ellie was talking to Joel at that point, because, she's willing to live with him, live in his roof and all that. Let him help raise her for the most part, but then be like, I'm not your kid. This isn't your house. This is all mine. But at a point, I also kind of respect that he went, you know what, maybe your own space would be good. Give me a few days. Let me get it all set up. So I might be struggling with that scene a little bit more too. But yeah, overall, again, this was a phenomenal episode. Again, I cannot discredit if this was your favorite episode of all time. It's like episode 3 with Frank. And is it Frank? Or 2? Yeah, I think it's Frank. But yeah, when they get the love story that we saw there with that short film with our 2 guys, that was a phenomenally made episode. And it wasn't my favorite episode season, but I wasn't going to argue with anyone else that it was their favorite episode. If this is your favorite episode, God love you. I don't disagree with you whatsoever. It's just, to me, I think I liked episode 5 a little bit more. Maybe because there was a little bit more action. I guess I'll be that guy. But yeah, episode 5 to me was really hitting on all cylinders. Episode 6, again, made me in the feels. I felt that meaty gut punch. I just felt like we could have made it much more. It could have been a KO as opposed to a TKO. Is guess what I am trying to say with it. But yeah, I'm sad for it to go away. And this is the point where, I'm going to talk about some things that are coming up, how I think the show is going to end. So if you don't want to know anything about happening within the future, go ahead and click away. But for the gamers who know what's about to happen, this is for you. This is your part of it where we could theorize on how this is going to go. Because if you see the preview, you see Jesse run in the theater. And if that is to be the final scene, because again, I don't know if we get the battle at the theater immediately. And I was really hoping we would get Abby's perspective within season 2. I know we were split into 3, but it does look very clear now. The season 3 premiere will be Seattle Day 1, all from the perspective of Abby. And we're not going to see Ellie or Dina or any of the characters that we come to know and love for a long, long time. Well, 3 weeks. Or hell, maybe 4. Who knows how it's going to go. I heard talks that they might be stretching this out to 4 seasons. I don't know. I think season 3 will be fine. And then, if you want to do a season 4, let that be the 3rd game that you probably just not going to make at this point. Just do it. Just Last of Us Part 3 is season 4, right? But yeah, you're going to be asking a lot of your audience that, assuming Ellie goes and kills all the other friends, right? Because why else would Abby be coming over and being hell-bent to do it? And there's a lot less friends in this one, true, but she has to kill Owen in next week's episode. Honestly, she probably doesn't really have to kill all of them. She just needs to kill Owen. And maybe Owen's a girlfriend as well, because, the girlfriend is pregnant at the time. But she has to at least get Owen. And that will make Abby go back. And then I think Tommy kills someone too. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, that final shot with Jesse running, because a lot of people love Jesse. I love Jesse too in the show. Goes in, he gets shot, and he dies. There's Abby, and she's standing over Tommy. And I don't recall if she does shoot Tommy. Y'all remind me, but I don't think Tommy dies. But you really do think Tommy dies when she shoots him, and then she chases after him within the theater, and then we cut to black, and then that will be the credits if we are to do the actual game. And if you do that, you do all that, you make the audience hate Abby more than you already think, because the only reason that I know, like, hey, we're in trouble here, is that you've done the whole perspective. You've shown early on that Joel killed Abby's father, and that the cure would have worked. That's the thing, that they confirmed the cure would have worked. on that porch scene, would there be a cure? Yes, my life would have had a fucking meaning. And then even with her friends going, look, he killed it. We just went eye for an eye. We let you live. We let you live. And again, any other show, they're the good guys. Ellie and Joel and them are the bad guys. They had a cure, and someone came in and killed them. They're not good people, but yet this is The Last of Us. We come to know Joel. We love Joel. And then here comes Abby, without having her perspective at all, killing Jesse, making it look like she killed Tommy. And then we're going to cut to black, and we're going to tell you, wait 2 years. Oh, and not only that, when those 2 years are up, and then you start season 3, you're going to be following her for 3 weeks. I don't know, man. I'm a little nervous. Now, we'll see how this all ends next week, if my hunch is to be believed. But I am very curious. See, I admire it. I'm not going to lie to you. I very much admire it. I respect it. It's very, very bold. And I do kind of hope they do that. But I do think from a marketing standpoint, from a business standpoint, it's a really big risk. And they did a phenomenal job within this. But with how my expectations were for this show, because I really did think this would be my favorite show of the year, and nothing was going to top it, because again, I love the second game so much. Again, I'll reiterate, to me, best story ever told, even though I know I'm only getting half of it this time. Andor really did put a big number on it. We need a real phenomenal episode for this to be even considered for the top spot for me personally. And I just think if this wasn't, top for me, I don't know if we necessarily did our job in order to, really justify the beginning that we're going to do in season 3. But hey, if they're going to stretch this into 4 seasons, maybe they'll change the structure up a little bit. But let me know what you think about it down in the comment section. Leave a like if you made it this far within a review. I do greatly appreciate it. And again, hit that subscribe button, as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. And of course, to watch how this all ends. But until next time, guys, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.